Could you imagine living life, right? The journals and the magazines and the one-off reporters and the headlines all splatter their hippo goop all over you, and yet you're still here living life, hanging out with people and creating experiences. It's been a year away from the spotlight, and now a key figure of the hippo community has just rescinded, retracted, and recanted their allegations towards you. Let the caffeine dumps and anxiety begin. Real quick, it is 1:45. I want to share how long it takes for me to record this video at the end. I know. Being educated and doing research, it is such a chore. Ugh. Take me, for example. I had a roadmap of videos ready, because I haven't been uploading, so now I'm ready to get back into it in high gear. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of writing my next upload, I'm hit up by multiple people just leaving comments saying that I should perhaps speak on today's matter. So you know what I did? I finished writing the video I was working on, postponed recording it, and shifted my full attention to today's matter, to Ezra Miller once again. You see, we could call this a part 2 to last year's video. I was so into the flash excitement and the misinformation regarding Ezra Miller's name that once I found this thread here, why am I so angled? Once I found this Twitter thread detailing every darn allegation with details explaining why they were wrong or shed more light on the situation, my brain went into overdrive mode and I shared this information in a visual and audio manner because the truth deserves to be shared. It's only right. Link to the thread and video in the description. Today we are gathered here because, as I said in the intro, a key figure in the defamation of Ezra Miller has pulled back their statements. The culprit's name is 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝙀𝙁𝙀, and this is a pretty big deal because he alleged that Ezra Miller groomed his daughter 𝙎𝙀𝙁 when she was 12 years old. This is one of the harshest cases against them, as I've seen throughout comments. Didn't Ezra Miller groom a kid? Ezra and 𝙎𝙀𝙁 have maintained a friendship, and it seems that Chase has finally come around to the truth. And I'll reiterate once again, in case you're a new viewer or you're rusty on the topic, pretty much as I have been, scratch that, let's make the review the first section here. We're gonna chop down an hour into minutes, I hope. Claim number 1, Ezra Miller choked a woman. That caffeine's getting to me, man. I'm shaking the frick out, man. Woo! False. Hands were never on her throat and she was only lowered to the ground. It turns out that this same woman was stalking and harassing Ezra and company days prior. Warner Brothers and the police were aware of the stalking and harassment, so no charges were pressed. Claim 2, Ezra Miller attacked people in a bar. No one was attacked. Ezra was drunk and seems like they were heckling a karaoke singer. That's the gist of that. I could expand by sharing that queer-phobic comments were made against them, so then Miller argued back. The main culprit claimed to be a Nazi, threatened Ezra, and when the police showed up, asked if they were going to light Ezra up or if he was going to have to do it himself. Now it seems we have an update with this specific claim here. It's very scrumptious and delicious. It turns out the Nazi culprit character was an illegal immigrant and had a warrant out for his arrest. But Ezra was the one arrested because of their infamy, pled no contest to disorderly conduct, and paid out $500. This is one of the only 2 charges. Claim 3, Ezra Miller robbed a couple. Miller was a guest in the couple's home and basically copied and pasted from last year's script that there was no evidence, no investigation, no temporary restraining order, with a grain of ulterior motives at play. The ulterior motive being the husband in said couple wanting to sell info on Ezra. It was all a sham. Claim number 4, Ezra Miller threatened someone's life in a video. This was towards the KKK, not an individual. Miller's friend's home was set on fire, so of course, outrage was felt. The aftermath led to Ezra driving around with a vest and gun for protection. Claim number 5, Ezra Miller groomed a minor. This one is long, but the short of it is this photo here. I was the one that told Chase that 𝙎𝙀𝙁𝙁 was being groomed. It was based on lies and speculation, and I have no proof. My only intention was to destroy Ezra Miller. I freaking lied. An important photo, and we'll discuss more of 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝙁𝙁 later. Excuse me for a moment here as I'm reading back some notes, but I forgot to include there was a second person involved with grooming. Massachusetts mother Shannon Gwynn placed a temporary order of protection against Miller, and it's important to note that there were no allegations stated. As you can see on screen from post 1, 𝙎𝙀𝙁𝙁 publicly says her father Chase helped fabricate this, and in post 2, a friend of Gwynn confirmed Miller had not personally done anything concerning to Gwynn's child. She claims Gwynn was motivated by stories she heard about 𝙎𝙁𝙁, which were all disproved. I will be briefly mentioning Gwen during the intermission section of this video. Claim 6. Ezra Miller had an appropriate friendship with Takata Iron Eyes when she was a minor. There was no evidence of a friendship prior to 2022, the year Takata was possibly 18 or 19 already. Not sure, we have a little mix up on birth year and no month. Claim number 7. Ezra Miller kidnapped a minor. Media has besmirched Chase Iron Eyes' words of, "We are looking for Takata and Ezra," as Ezra kidnaps minor, in which Takata was 18 by this date. She was safe and in contact with them the whole time. She just didn't want to move back into her parents' home and didn't agree with the case against Ezra Miller. An important fact for later. Claim 8. Ezra Miller assaulted Sarah Jumping Eagle. I remember being so exhausted at reading these claims last year because this family, the Iron Eyes family, makes so many cameos. In this case, Takata's mom was dragging her out of a car and got some sort of injury. Ezra was on the other side of the car and could not have been them.
I mean, it's that simple.
Claim 9. Ezra Miller is on the run and taunting the police. During this period, Miller had cooperated with law enforcement at all times, including court appearances and safety checks by local police when Miller was receiving death threats. Claim 10. Ezra Miller took Takata Iron Eyes out of the country alone. Yo, my hands are shaking. I need food. Takata traveled to London for a Warner Bros. Studio tour with a group of other folks from her reservation. She was chaperoned. Claim 11. Ezra Miller controlled Takata Iron Eyes' statements and social media. She always had her phone. This family is exhausting. I forgot how much this family was involved. Lord. Claim 12. There are multiple assault charges against Ezra Miller. No, we talked about the pleading no contest to disorderly conduct, and the second and last charge is trespassing. Claim number 13. Ezra Miller harassed a woman in Germany. Homie wasn't in Germany. Claim 14. Ezra Miller threw a chair at a woman, injuring her. On April 19th of 2022, Miller intervened to protect a woman from a man wielding a knife. They threw a chair in defense, but it mistakenly hit a nearby woman. She even refused treatment for a half-inch cut and did not press charges. This one ties in with the next claim, and the woman in question, named Anna Rosa, has even publicly defended Ezra. Claim 15. Ezra Miller held a woman and children hostage. Quite the contrary, actually. This rumor refers to Anna Rosa, the domestic abuse survivor who escaped with Miller's help in April. She publicly refuted the claim, stating that Miller provided a temporary safe haven for her and her kids. They provided a safe environment for her and her family, and considers Miller very sweet, which has made Anna Rosa super grateful. Claim 16. Ezra Miller housed kids in dangerous conditions. This was BS spilled by Anna Rosa's abusive ex, who she wanted to get away from, who had never seen the home. Or whom? This one is lengthy, but that's the long story short. And this is the family that was allegedly held hostage in a home full of drugs and guns laying around, if you remember hearing about that. The police and Child Protective Services even pulled up on Ezra's home just to see if everything was a-okay. Claim 17. Ezra Miller runs a cult. Not even gonna entertain this one. This was a result of journalist journaling without proper evidence, and some even used Ezra's stalker as a source. Come on! Claim 18. Ezra Miller threatened a fan. This one is my favorite right here. This little booger posted a video in 2022 from 2020, and I'll entertain it a little bit. The clip was presented as recent and edited in a way that removed context of being mutually understood as a joke.
That's an option I present people, always.
Hi.
Always just knock you out, and then you won't have to panic.
Right, you just gotta knock
You just let me know.
Yeah.
No? Yes?
What? I met Ezra Miller. Whoa. Yeah. Someone put me flash for me. Yeah.
So the flash is already here.
Oh, like the movie.
New, old, eternal, also terminal. I can't tell you.
Okay. Alright, I respect that. Awesome.
Okay, so that was a video. He posted the little snippet saying Ezra was gonna choke him out pretty much, and left no context about that. That's from 2020 when there was not much controversy, but then when Ezra Miller started getting into infamy again, this snot booger motherfucker posted that, and I think that's the only curse word I'm gonna use.
Wrong.
But check out how turned on he was about meeting Ezra.
Oh my god, that was Ezra Miller. Yo, I went up to him and I was like, Ezra Miller? He was like, the one and only. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my, oh!
What the fuck, yo?
Also, F this dude because he posted that for some clout, because right after that he posted a little sketch. And then he did nothing else. That's what I call waste. Claim 19, Ezra Miller is going to prison for 26 years for burglary. So this situation is part of the 2 charges they ever received, the trespassing one. They pled guilty to unlawful trespass, a misdemeanor, and was fined $500 and 1 year of probation, and that's been completed by this point in time. The home Ezra snuck into was a family friend who was given a heads up by Ezra's mother that they'd be going over for some cooking ingredients. Claim 20, Ezra Miller admitted guilt by apologizing for crimes. They apologized for going through a mental health crisis and no specific allegation was addressed. Claim 21, Ezra Miller is using mental health as an excuse to avoid accountability. They have been through counseling and rehab. Claim 22, Ezra Miller is only claiming to be non-binary to avoid accountability. Came out as queer in 2012 and non-binary in 2018. It's old news, because the bulk of this is in 2022. Claim 23, Ezra Miller is protected from consequences by privilege. There's a bit of information you can read here on this portion, and I'll say it again as I did last year. Gays and Jews get a bad rep. And not to mention that the illegal immigrant that had an arrest warrant was not arrested while Ezra was. So where's the privilege? That was almost 10,000 words condensed into about 1,200. You know, reading all this took me back to the way I first felt last year when I was writing that script.
Exhausted.
I mean, look at this. It was a 5-hour window of writing that, man. Spreading misinformation never looked so easy and glamorous. Shout out to the journalists out there. But it was very necessary to recap what had happened as we look forward to after July 9th, where we left off with the statement that Ezra Miller put out about... I'm gonna have to voice over this in post because I forgot to include it in the script. On July 5th, Ezra put out this statement, which I can no longer find, so thank God I have a screenshot from when I was creating last year's video. Here, Ezra expressed their gratitude over the temporary protection order being lifted from the 𝙎𝙀𝙾𝙄𝘾 case and how protective orders should not be abused and that the media should focus in on the facts. The facts being that the 3 encounters between Gwen and Miller were entirely initiated by her, exceedingly brief, and absolutely did not involve any appropriate interaction with her child. Bullet 3. Ezra was never alone with the child and never interacted with the child outside of 2 brief encounters which occurred in the presence of several other adults. There was absolutely nothing inappropriate about Ezra's very limited conversation with this young fan, and Ezra never possessed, much less displayed, a weapon in any of these brief encounters as Ms. Gwen has claimed. These claims are fabrications. Moving on. This is the second time I have to record this tidbit because I forgot to hit record on the first take, but I'm here 5 days later. I'm editing this video and I come across information that I completely forgot, and I'm like, yo, I should include this. For season 1 of Invincible, the animated series on Amazon, everyone's watching it, everyone loves it. I haven't seen it, but the world has recommended it to me. There's a character called 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾, voiced by Ezra Miller. Did I say that already? I don't know. But for season 2, the role was recasted and handed off to 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾. He's a prolific actor who voices a ton of Looney Tune characters and won 2 Emmys for it. Here's what the show creator, no. That's the boys. Robert Kirkman had to say about the recast. Speaking of Cecil, his story is intertwined with 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾, who was voiced by Ezra Miller in season 1 and recast in season 2. What was the decision behind the recasting? Like we saw with Rick Sheridan, role that was played by Jonathan Groff in season 1 and Luke McFarlane in season 2, and similar to Game of Thrones, when you have a cast that's this large and you're recording in different times, sometimes availabilities are going to shift and recasting is going to be necessary. I think it's going to be something that's going to happen from time to time with this show. So there you go. And of course, there were media outlets circulating the news that the role has been recasted using controversy or amidst this and that. Ezra Miller recasted in Invincible because of the controversies, but no, here's the source man right here saying its availability. So just a month later, Starting on August 4th, 2023, Matisyahu is a musician dabbling in rapping and reggae. He's had skin in the game since 2000. He's not the biggest name, but he did have a top 40 hit in 2005. Was on tour last summer, and Ezra Miller actually joined up on stage for a number of shows. From August 4th to the 27th, they had a blast of a month. Turns out Matisyahu's band got stuck in Chicago, so Ezra and some friends took to drive, I think from Vermont to Tennessee, and learned the songs to perform. And this drive, hello? Picking a random spot in the middle of Vermont, Randolph to Pelham, Tennessee, where the first show was taking place. It's about a 17-hour drive. Here's a snippet of the August 4th show from Matisyahu himself. And at the time this was going on, I was a bit taken aback, but also happy. Like, whoa, you're just out here having freedom and no one is throwing tomatoes. Wow, but also, yeah, live it up, brother. The general public is never in tune or obsessed with this as the internet body. So after a month of playing shows with Matisyahu, the two of them are invited to throw the first pitch at a Mets game. I know, man. What timeline is this? It wasn't an ordinary pitch though, you see. Roll the clip so I can read off my phone. They decided to pitch a matzo ball for the game. What on earth is that? A matzo ball is made from matzah, or matzah, you know, both spellings are accepted, which is an unleavened flatbread. Unleavened meaning that thing has no yeast or rising components. A quick Google for matzahs will show you the products, and maybe you have one. I know I have before after seeing them, and the flavor took me aback for sure. It's a little dry. Take those cracker-like flatbreads, grind them up to a dust, and you get matzah meal, the main ingredient in a matzah ball, along with eggs and whatever your heart desires, within reason of course. And usually from what I see, they go in the soup. I just really wanted to get all food theory there. How's that for being multifaceted? It was Jewish Heritage Day at Citi Field. Please join Grammy-nominated Jewish rapper Matisyahu and his friend Ezra Miller as they throw for the first time in Major League Baseball history the opening matzo ball pitch. Or at least that's what we are told was said. Let's watch. Look how much that thing just exploded, man. One time for the slow-mo, okay? Boom. Damn. I read that they had practiced that pitch a couple of times, but in their practice sessions, they used a dry matzo ball, whereas this one was straight out of the soup. So it was a little slippery, and that's why it exploded so much. Sucks. And the journey for our duo ends right about here with what's believed to be the last public outing of them together on September 9th when Matisyahu performed at the Park City Song Summit in Utah. We have this footage here of Ezra dancing with the CEO of the event, frolicking about. This section was about 60% smaller than the review portion, but would you believe that it took just as long to write? So it turns out Ezra actually had another brief stint with another musical group called Woody and the Rebel Alliance. They're not quite established as Matisyahu. They're not really a big name, but they did open for him and served as the backing band. I'll let the voiceover guy talk a bit so I can enjoy some food. I'm losing it. I actually don't have much info on this arc, but recorded dates of Ezra playing with them are September 16th, October 7th, October 28th, and November 4th, 2023. Kind of feel bad for this guy. I want to let him eat for a second. You know, check this out. Like, I'm watching exactly what you're watching. It's September 9th, and I'll let him eat for 3, 2, 1. Is that it? Unlike the Woody arc, which I had no idea was a thing, I do know about, and this will be the first time I say it out loud, DOMANIUM EEDA. I guess I gotta stop because, sheesh, man. Look at them wings, bro. About to die. I see the posts come up all the time on my Instagram feed, and I think it's really appropriate to call this a fashion brand. DOMANIUM EEDA is a fashion company started by Ezra Miller and friend 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾, which it really does sound, that name sounds familiar and her photo looks familiar too. So let me check my notes real quick. I know what I'm looking for here. Right here, 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾 right here with Ezra Miller. This was, I'm assuming 2022 because a bulk and everything happened in 2 years ago. I would like to add to this that my relationship with Ezra has proved time and time again what a caring, compassionate, and supportive person they are. I was in Hawaii in March with Ezra, Gibson or Takata, and Oliver, blah, 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 blah. So Rosie has existed in this whole Ezra verse, and they're friends, and it's nice to see that they're keeping in contact 2 years later, and they've created something. If I scroll all the way down, we'll see the birth of this page was on December 1st, 2023, and this is still an ongoing thing. If we go back all the way to the top, we already have no, that's not it. We already have a September post 1 day ago. I'm recording September 4th. Here we've got Rosie, and this is the photo that really made me be like, wait a minute, now she looks familiar. We've got some expressive ass photos of Ezra if you're not used to seeing that. Damn. My one thing is, yo, stop smoking like that, man. Protect your lungs, damn it. And if we go to their store, you can see, you can buy thread clips, thread pins, denim, earrings, chains, cluster clips, slips, trousers, blazers, pins, a double T. You want bones in your hair? What's a double T, dude? Oh. It's fucking 2 shirts. Let's set that baby down. That's DOMANIUM EEDA, brought to you by Ezra Miller and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘾, who, as we know, was with them in 2022 in Hawaii, which includes claims 2 and 3. We're gonna fast forward another month to January 4th, 2024, where 100INTHEHAND uploads their first post. And could you guess what this is? That's right, you guessed it, a band. A band created by Ezra Miller, 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝘾, is it 𝙎𝙊𝘾? From Ghost Adventures. I don't get it, I'm in shock. What timeline is it again? And Takata Iron Eyes.
It all leads back to the Iron Eyes family. Wait for the finale.
So yeah, they're a band. They have 6 songs out. They've shot some stuff, played some gigs, and they even did a podcast. Check out this little snippet. Well, the script says I'm gonna despawn, but I'm gonna freaking eat instead of just disappearing off camera.
Ezra, I know I've researched you.
I've researched you too. I was a baby in the 90s. So this is like amazing, beautiful for me.
Wait, you're in a conspiracy.
I'm in a conspiracy?
Meaning you're into it.
We all are in a conspiracy.
Thank you.
Mother, I'm tired. I'd love a place to rest my head. I don't want to go to the horse races.
Oh, that bite of chicken was so good. The band has been going to places together and hanging about and living life. It's especially nice to see Ezra get to be a darn human. And between 100INTHEHAND and DOMANIUM EEDA, I just have to say, could you be in a movie again perhaps? But seriously, Ezra is keeping active, and on the 18th of August, 100INTHEHAND plays at the launch party for the Sacred Defense Fund, a nonprofit organization which deals with indigenous matters in Santa Fe. And at that launch party, a key figure was there. And I'm sure you've heard of Watergate. There's also a Pizzagate. Well, today I'd like to present to you Chase Iron Eyes. The father of Takata Iron Eyes first met Ezra Miller 12 years ago in 2012 through a documentary I cannot find the title of, in the middle of his fundraising of $9 million to buy back sacred land, of which $2 million was left. The Iron Eyes family is a part of the Lakota tribe, residing primarily in the Dakota states and hold the Black Hills mountain range near to their hearts. The Black Hills are also the home of Mount Rushmore National Memorial, coincidentally enough. This man is part of the reason the grooming allegations have spread, so I want to take you on a trip through Ezra's history with the Iron Eyes family. 4 years later, in 2016, Ezra visits the Standard Rock Reservation to protest the Dakota Access Pipeline, which transports oil across several states and was protested against on the concerns of environmental impact and water contamination. An endorsement with the cast of Justice League was filmed, and this was pretty much the first time Ezra ever met Tada, that we publicly know of, which in this instant was amidst a bunch of other people. As you can see, these are part of the protests. Ezra's here, Takada's there. Chase speaking, Ezra here. That's Shailene Woodley and Ezra. Random Ezra photo, more Ezra. I believe that is Takada in the background. Amongst other people, Chase and Shailene next to each other. Ezra and Shailene again. Bam. Random Ezra shot. Chase, Takada, and Ezra. Ezra and Shailene again. And again, amongst someone else. If we look at the final section here, celebrities have also showed support for the hashtag. Celebrities such as Shailene Woodley, Rosario Dawson, and many others have showed their support at protests and throughout social media. And in October 2016, Woodley was arrested for criminal trespassing while demonstrating in St. Anthony, North Dakota. That was the first time they met around other people and did not even have a friendship, any sort of relationship. She was just Big Dog's daughter. In 2017, we had the Warner Bros. Trip from Claim 10, but 2018 is the real kicker. Lauren Turner, a stalker of Ezra, who I didn't mention in this video, but makes plenty of cameos in the whole Twitter thread and in my first video, gossiped lies to BuzzFeed about them having an inappropriate relationship with Takada. Ezra eventually took out a temporary restraining order against her, which was dropped within the same year. From 2019 to 2021, nothing. But let's talk about some details and texts that were shared with me. Gotta grab this laptop every time and hit the record button on here. This is Ezra's stalker, and here we go. I shared this before. I was the one that told Chase Iron Eyes that Takada Iron Eyes was being groomed. It was based on lies and speculation, and I have no proof. My only intention was to destroy Ezra Miller. I effing lied. Why? You know what? I don't even know anymore. Standing Rock tried to set me up back in 2018 to call Ezra a pedophile so he could sue me, because the man in that photo, I don't know which one, is James Iron Eyes, relative to Takada Iron Eyes, aka the child in the photo they tried setting me up with. Then we have this account admitting here, I stalk Ezra. Do you have evidence of James saying this, and has it been used on the internet? On Ezra's Venmo in 2020, he was around Jasper Youngbear and Takada. Never just him and Takada, him being Ezra. Jasper was also traveling and following Ezra. Takada always had supervision. Bam. Right, so is it plausible then that Chase genuinely did not suspect anything at all? I mean, in 20 and 21, if you had contact then, did you ever mention or question potential grooming? James was lying just to get me in trouble, was trolling me because that was the start of me hating Ezra. In 2020, I mentioned the grooming to him. After that, we did not keep in touch. So this just goes to show that Chase knew about some grooming allegations or was told that Ezra is suspicious, but never said anything. Never took his child away from Ezra or publicly said anything until now. Here we have some court documents where Ezra's stalker, Turner, published BuzzFeed community posts and Tumblr posts falsely accusing me of having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl and falsely accusing me and my friends of stalking and harassing her, amongst other things. The BuzzFeed posts and several Tumblr posts have been removed, and I'm still fearful of the lengths that she will go to harass me and intimidate me. And here we have proof that Chase was communicated to about certain things, perhaps the grooming information, which was false. So this did happen. The communication actually happened. In this little video snippet here, we have the stalker sharing information with Chase, and it's just a bunch of iMessage screenshots. Can we read anything? Groomed her. She was a minor less than a few months ago. Yes, look, I'll show you. Yeah, this was must have been right before me. Yeah, this has to have been right before me or when they were with me, because they did go to Walmart and came up with so much shit, like literal kids' toys. Ketamine, blah, 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 blah. Anything else? There's Takada. Big ass post, guns. Which, those guns, hold up, because I saw an update here. This is me going off script. I didn't see this until earlier when I was while recording. This was an update on October. My video came out in July. There's still a misconception floating around that Ezra Miller runs a farm full of drugs and guns. Raises crop and livestock. Their goats are featured in the GQ article. The farms they own. Here we have the same photo of guns. The photos in question were props for the film asking for it, not real weapons. As stated earlier in the thread, Vermont police and CPS investigated Miller's farm. No unsecured weapons, ammunition, or illegal drugs were found. Even the children's abusive father who filed a false complaint admitted their mother passed a drug test. some guns were props, and some other guns that were owned by Ezra Miller are registered and legal and were kept away from children. What a deep dive. Honestly, there's some lore there, like how Chase ran for her house back in 2016, or how Takada's relative wanted to be raped by Ezra. But my focus and intent here is going through Ezra's history with the Iron Eyes family, leading up to the grooming allegations, and how important it is for Chase to have pulled his words back. In a bit of a speedrun of dates here, in January 2022, Chase, Takada, Ezra, Whitney Suitors, and some others take a trip to California. A month later in February, Ezra and Takada head to Hawaii. As you evidently see, Takada's father was aware of this trip. It was not a kidnapping. In April, they return, and a month later, Takada's parents, Chase and Sarah, file for a conservatorship over her. Which is odd because at this point in time, she was of age. This all leads up to the fifth claim of grooming. This too much grooming, man. And by this date, Ezra's stalker had already communicated with Chase and planted the negative seed. And well, obviously, Chase didn't say anything to protect Ezra, and up until now, but it does make you wonder if his relationship with Ezra was suspicious, not entirely innocent. I don't know, I'm not gonna trail there, but they literally just hung out in California 3 months prior when he took that picture. This conservatorship only added fuel to the fire of Ezra's name as the Iron Eyes tried to control their daughter, and I'll share some photos that Takada shared talking about this. In an exclusive statement, activist Takada Iron Eyes called the allegations that Ezra Miller has groomed and abused her a disgusting and irresponsible smear campaign. I am in no way or under any circumstance have ever been, during my short-lived adulthood, in need of a conservatorship. My father and his allegations hold no weight and are frankly transphobic and based in the notion that I am somehow incapable of coherent thoughts or opposing opinions to those of my own kindred worrying about my well-being. I am now aware of the severity of emotional and psychological manipulation I was made to endure while in my parents' home. This bout of blatant betrayal and toxicity my parents and others have chosen to punish me with has been desperately embarrassing and traumatically life-altering. Relationships in my life have been grossly affected, some detrimentally so. This behavior is unacceptable and needs to be called out. This is the way my parents have threatened me in attempts to manipulate my movements and assert their narrative to the public, using ceremony and native religious teachings to guilt me into returning to their dysfunctional household. That is not what our medicine is for. Ezra is innocent. Healthy and safe are not options for me, a queer adult, while they are both undermining my autonomy. Now, they inevitably failed. The conservatorship never really went through. Poof, it's gone. Bye. But I did forget to mention something earlier about Ezra's stalker reaching out to a lot of people from the reservation, but
They didn't fall for it.
check this out. Shout out to JP, man. And because I've never mentioned it yet, Ezra's stalker's name is Lauren Turner. Lauren Turner. I said Taylor the first time around. I do say it a second time within the video, and I'll keep it there so you can just laugh at that mistake. There's someone on Facebook that's doxing and harassing Native people for interacting with anything that has to do with Ezra Miller. They've shared photos of addresses and phone numbers, relatives who have passed, and even wished death on people's babies. Did you see their Instagram? They're like borderline obsessed with Ezra Miller. Post about him almost every day, his IP address, locations, and claiming he's been abusing them for 4 years. But honestly, I don't think he even knows they exist. It's really creepy. Lauren Taylor is a sociopath and is spreading fake information about Ezra Miller. Anyway, Lamau, the business about Ezra Miller is just a bunch of rumors weaved together by someone who is actually obsessed with Ezra and wants to see them defamed. Her name is Lauren Turner. Please block and report this account on Instagram. There you go, Vintage Devil. I read a few of those texts earlier. Y'all, so this bitch got the nerve to bully one of us natives. She just a piece of shit. Help me help her get this bitch off Facebook completely. This don't piss me off. She don't even know. Lauren's a psychopath. Ezra Miller isn't canceled, y'all. People are strange and cancel culture is... What the... This collage right here is one of my favorite pieces of evidence that the reservation did not believe this. And I think they're the most important group, as Ezra has helped them out over the years and associated with them for a decade, really. So it's great to see that the closest people do not believe it. This was in 2020 when Lauren started contacting random people on the reservation, harassing them and lying about Ezra. Our poor food is getting cold. On June 7th, they filed a petition for an interim protection order against Ezra, and a day later, TMZ publishes an article stating that Miller has been grooming 𝙈𝙀𝙁 since she was 12, which makes no sense because there were also other celebrities around this girl at said time and none were targeted or accused. In this photo here, you can see freaking Mark Ruffalo and Shailene Woodley next to her. She was age 12. Why is no one freaking over Ruffalo or DiCaprio or Dave Matthews? And right here, you see the Justice League and freaking Pharrell. Like Pharrell. Oh, on June 18th, Whitney Suiters, Ezra's friend, as far as we know,
Yeah, we got a clear shot. Whitney, are you ready to field this? This is going to be intense.
confirmed that Ezra hadn't been around 𝙈𝙀𝙁 for at least 2 years prior. July 12th, 2022. Scheduled hearing with Ezra regarding grooming accusations, and 𝙈𝙀𝙁 does not suffer a conservatorship. And as a result of that, the hearing and restraining order went down the drain. From meeting Ezra Miller in 2012 through a documentary regarding sacred land buyback, receiving their sympathy through the years and getting a Justice League shout out to being told rumors directly, and while yes, you did not freak out, you did not defend your friend and hung out with them 3 months prior, a decade later, before you added on to the grooming allegations and deeply affecting your daughter's mental health, I had to ask why. Why was this the ultimate conclusion? Why turn against Miller? And the answer lies between the lines. If we go back to these posts here, you'll see signs of a toxic household, and with that comes a yearning to break free. I'm sure the Hawaii trip was a great escape from the family, and who provided that trip? The Flash, baby! It's like having that one cool rich friend who has the latest blah blah so-and-so, and you want to be a part of that. You want to experience that life. So when 𝙈𝙀𝙁 came back home in late April after Hawaii, I'm sure there was possibly some sort of rebellious attitude. It's funny, I could not get over this. I didn't know why. I was stuck on the why of it all. So I reached out to a trusted source, the person that provided me so much information on this section here, and this was the take that I got. My final question, why did they want a restraining order against Ezra in the first place when 3 months prior they were in California together? Because Ezra was the enemy for helping 𝙈𝙁𝙁 and became the scapegoat or projection for all their familial problems. They are both narcs and wanted to punish Ezra and 𝙈𝙁𝙁 at the same time. So there you have it. Miller provided a place to be, a shoulder to lean on away from home, and the parents, of course, did not like that. When I think of Ezra Miller headline crimes, the ones that come to mind are grooming, kidnapping, and choking people out. While neither of these really actually occurred, the grooming allegation headline, grooming anything, just got completely thrown out the window. August 25th, 2024. So fucking thirsty. There's a reason I support 100 in the hand. 𝙈𝙁𝙁 Iron Eyes, Ezra Miller, 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝙀𝙁. Again, Wadsley? And I don't feel like I owe an explanation, but after we hosted a party in Santa Fe, we received some feedback. This was the launch party for the Sacred Defense Fund. When you live your life under a public, tribal, and non-tribal microscope of critique, sometimes it seems it's only the critique that makes its way through. I want to offer this on the drama 3 years ago when I filed a petition and claimed that Ezra appeared to have groomed 𝙈𝙁𝙁𝙁. I made that statement in my pleading in a time of absolute war based on information from a witness who then recanted and said nothing happened that they could infer anything appropriate from. Thus, I immediately withdrew the court filings. Now we are doing our level best to move on, to reconcile, to heal, while remaining supportive as a father. As long as 𝙈𝙁𝙁𝙁's good, we're good. These are real people living real lives, and once you're in that fire, where there is no anonymity, there is no safe space for you to retreat. That's a strange place, and it's not enviable. It takes a lot to enter the fray again. I did not read Chase's statement until writing this specific portion of the video, and I think those final few words are a beautiful capstone to the end of this all. It takes a lot to enter the fray again. Ezra Miller has not been in the spotlight, I almost said flashlight, since the Flash premiere. Nothing insane ever happened except trespassing, wherein the person was told beforehand that Ezra would be stepping in, and disorderly conduct, where Miller only accepted the punishment by pleading no contest against an illegal immigrant with an arrest warrant whomst threatened them. And that, my friends, is all from me. I hope I did a decent job here accomplishing my goals, which were to review what's been said a year ago, go over what happened since the year, and build up who Chase was and why his statement is so important. This video would not exist in an accurate manner without the help of the 3 individuals. Last year I read off a Twitter thread co-created by Twitter users Ghosty and JP. I didn't say their handles, but it's on screen and in the description. Ghosty helped with some clarity on the review section, and JP, oh my god, helped me immensely with the 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝙀𝙍𝙀𝙁𝙍 portion. Dude, I had our chat up the whole time writing up that script because you sent me so much stuff. It was a little overbearing. My last reference is 𝙍𝙀𝙁𝑻𝑬𝑹𝑺 on Instagram. They helped immensely with the Matisyahu and 𝙎𝙬 arc. I didn't even know there was a 𝙎𝙬 and the Rebel Alliance association. So if we never spoke, I would have completely left that out. So thank you. I appreciate you. And last but not least, huge thanks to the Ezra Miller Innocence community. I wasn't going to make this video as soon as I am now. I was going to postpone it a bit. But eventually it hit me that I should probably speak up on this because people were dropping comments about Chase opening up and clarifying that the grooming BS was BS. I hope this video gets some traction because there are people out there that still believe in the misinformation, and the popular pages that spread the misinformation apparently have a contract with the devil to not spread any light on this. I've taken a huge interest in the livelihood of the misaccused or misrepresented, and I'd be the first person to say that this isn't the content I base my channel around, but it's important work that can improve the life of another human. And what is life without peace? So eat ass, popular pages and media outlets, and to the truth seekers, love what you like, protect your energy, and Ezra Miller, if you're watching this, I'm waiting for a movie, man.
We run a company called DOMANIUM EEDA, which is like a small boutique line, and so it's pants.